Well, it's been a few months since I came and featured the black pool here in Sherwood Forest. Fresh after it had been sort of revamped and scraped out and cleared. All this was bare earth. I'll put a bit of footage in to show you or remind you how it was. And it did look quite stark and bare. Not now. If I get out of the way, the place looks as different again. One thing that has happened, you may well be able to see it evident from all around the sides, that it's dropped by about a foot to what it was when all the seeds started to come through. If you look on the very left of the screen there's about a foot or a foot and a half of almost bare ground before there's a sharp line of where the grass is growing, and that's the height that it was at earlier in the year. There's another big difference as well, and that regards the number of birds that are here, because I did walk by here just over a week ago and spoke to two friends of mine who were ringing birds here, and they'd not caught a thing that day. They'd got the mist nets up round here, but that far end, it's full of young warblers and young great tits and blue tits. It's rammed with them. They would have a net full today. But it's been a very poor year for birds. They've had limited success, and there hasn't been the numbers that have returned this year to what were here last year and the year before. There's been a big decline in our warblers. As much as anyone might tell you, no, there's plenty this year, there aren't here. Numbers are down. But the place looks brilliant. It'd be nice if this water level could be maintained. If we get another dry spell, we might be in trouble again, but it's amazing how the vegetation's all come back here. But without a doubt, it is as different again a habitat as it has been in the last few years. Apart from drying out to last year, there's more vegetation now than what I've ever seen here before. There's some various rushes and sedges growing here. It looks far better. It's still its usual dirty self, but perhaps not quite as dirty looking water as it usually is. But I don't know whether you can see the birds at the far end. They're coming out of the trees and down for a drink. But there are big numbers. That's the northern side of the black pool, so it's more exposed to the sunlight. There's always been lots of rhododendron growth there, which does tend to kill everything out. Nothing stands a chance under the cover of rhododendrons, and there's also a few trees on that side, but you can see just nearest to us on that side, you might be able to notice that the ground, or this banking, is rougher than further round in the distance, and that's because of the deer. This is used by deer and badgers and foxes and anything else with 4 or 2 legs or whatever that wants to come here, and that's why that ground is disturbed and why there isn't anything growing in it also. And it's quite a restricted area that they visit, but it looks so much better. So I think the black pool is far better. In fact, I know it is. It's much better. I just hope it can hold the water. And I think that without the heavy thunderstorms we had, the Jay also agrees, but without the heavy thunderstorms we had a couple of weeks ago, it would be lower. Generally again, this part of the UK here in Nottinghamshire is once again very dry, as is the southeast of the UK. And if we get another really dry spell and a prolonged dry spell, once again we could be in trouble, and the wildlife here will also be in trouble as a result. But in the meantime, it's nice to see this restored back to something like its original state. In fact, the amount of vegetation growing in here is much improved.